Council diplomats tell SABC News that briefers are expected to include the UN Secretariat, the Office of the High Commissioner for Refugees, and the World Health Organization, as the plight of civilians in Ukraine becomes desperate. As the war enters a third week, there are more than 3 million refugees and over 2 million internally displaced.
Please be seated.
The Council meeting follows a ruling yesterday by the International Court of Justice.
By 13 votes to 2, the Russian Federation shall immediately suspend the military operations that it commenced on 24 February 2022 in the territory of Ukraine. By 13 votes to 2, the Russian Federation shall ensure that any military or irregular armed units which may be directed or supported by it, as well as any organizations and persons which may be subject to its control or direction, take no steps in furtherance of the military operations referred to in point 1 above.
This as the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court visited Ukraine Wednesday, which along with Russia is not a party to the Rome Statute, but accepted the court's jurisdiction to investigate crimes against humanity on its territory since Moscow's annexation of Crimea in 2014.
The truth very often is the first casualty of war. We need to investigate the incriminating and the exculpatory evidence. In other words, we need to get to the truth, and that will be the foundation of deciding if crimes are committed, and if so, who is responsible. And we take it step by step, but we need to act with some urgency and with some focus. No decent international prosecutor should start with a target. You should start with the evidence. And one needs to collect the evidence and separate truth from falsehood, and then see what does it show. And that's my job.
6 Western nations, led by the United Kingdom and the United States, called for the Emergency Council session over the escalating civilian cost of the war. The UN chief tweeting that more than 3 million had now fled Ukraine as civilian infrastructure continues to be targeted. With this from the US President on President Vladimir Putin.
I think he is a war criminal.
The sharp condemnation labelled unforgivable rhetoric by the Kremlin spokesperson, hitting back that it was US bombs that have killed hundreds of thousands of people around the world.
Our president is a very wise, visionary, and cultured international figure, and the head of the Russian Federation, the head of state. So such statements by Mr. Biden, as I've already said yesterday, are absolutely unacceptable, improper, and unforgivable. And what's more important, I believe, such comments cannot be made by a head of state that has been bombing people around the world for years.
So the Council meeting later Thursday provides a diplomatic platform for countries to ventilate their views on the war ahead of a vote on a Russian humanitarian resolution Friday that is expected to fail. Council diplomats have told SABC News the draft does not even mention Russia by name or explicitly call for an end to the fighting. An earlier separate French and Mexican draft humanitarian resolution is now heading to the General Assembly after the strong political language therein was expected to draw a Russian veto in the Council. All this as the White House announces that President Biden will speak Friday with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping. Shervin Bryce, SABC News, New York.